Welcome back to my mental health and crime channel. My name is Huda London. I'm a licensed cognitive behavior therapist, that's a CBT therapist, and a licensed mental health counselor. I'd love to start by thanking all my subscribers, my viewers, for all your pleasant, kind, interesting, and thoughtful comments. I really do appreciate all my subscribers and viewers. And like you all know, I've said that in a couple of clips that I've started a new channel. I'll be moving down slowly to that channel. I put the link in the community page and I'm going to put it down on this clip too. It's called Psychology and Crime Reacts. I want to put in more motivation and start fresh on that channel. Although I love Huda London Mental Health and Crime, that is the channel I've had for almost 3 years, but I'm having a bit issues with it. And with YouTube, there's so many rules and regulations that we have to follow. So hopefully, the Psychology and Crime channel is where I'm going to build up my family subscribers and viewers. I consider y'all as family. Just talking to y'all in the comment side page makes me feel like I have a bond with most of my subscribers. The thing I love about this channel is we can agree to disagree. This case obviously is so confusing. It's not like any of us know exactly what happened, except the suspect or suspects who did this horrific crime, and unfortunately the victims who are no longer here with us. They are not here to tell the story. They don't have a voice of their own. That is the reason I'm so passionate about this case, that I want to be part of finding out the truth. There's so many YouTube creators, TikTok creators that are doing a marvelous job trying to connect pieces, trying to find things that don't add up, which is basically the whole case. I've told you before what I feel. In the beginning of this case, I really believed that there were other suspects who did this, and I wasn't so keen on believing that Brian Christopher Kohberger did this. To be honest, I do a lot of research, not only for my work in mental health counseling. I do a lot of research in the cases that I take. I'll give you all a good example. The case of Nicola Bulley in Lancashire, United Kingdom, who went missing. She went for a walk with a dog and she never came back. There were actually many suspects, in this case especially her partner. It was so not only frustrating, disturbing to know that somebody who had a decent job, she was a real estate agent, she had connections with different projects, she had 2 lovely daughters, and when Nicola went missing, her partner, Mr. Ansel, gave the impression that she was an alcoholic and she was having alcohol issues and she must have fallen and slipped in the water. Just like, if you all know the case of Suzanne Morphew, may God bless her soul, Barry Morphew told the police, I think mountain lions dragged her. It was sad that Barry Morphew got away with the case, but I'm sure they'll reopen the case because after 4 years, this happened in 2020, Suzanne Morphew, his human remains were found. Barry Morphew was basically, the case ended up in a mistrial, but they can retry it again because they do not have enough evidence. In Susanna Morphew's case, what really helped was that the court venue was changed. Barry Murphy felt like it was very biased because they came originally from Indiana, and they moved down and bought a house for 1.6 million in the forest, in the woods, beautiful house. It was all Barry's idea, and Suzanne was just following along with him. Suzanne had a teaching job, and Suzanne left her job to be with her daughters. On Mother's Day, she was reported missing. Nicola Bully from Lancashire, United Kingdom, who went missing in the river, and Suzanne Murphy have a lot in common. Not only were they in the 40s, they both were women who were hardworking. They both had 2 daughters, actually, and both their husbands, partners, got away with the crimes. So what I'm trying to say is I have been researching cases like Summer Wells. It's 3 years on that 5-year-old Summer, who would be 9 years old now, went missing in Tennessee. Rogersville, Hawkins County, Ben Hill Road. That case was just a nightmare with the parents. But when I'm talking about all these cases, what I'm trying to say is that not only speculations, I try to do a lot of research behind the scenes, and I try to follow the interviews and see what makes sense and what doesn't make sense. Barry Murphy was a red flag from the start, but he had a damn good defense lawyer who let him walk off, basically. So it helped with the change of venue. Summer Wells is really sad because her parents are on drugs, intoxicated, come on YouTube panels. They are selfish, narcissistic behaviors. They made it all about themselves and not about poor Summer Moon Wells. So when it comes to the Idaho Moscow case, I do the same like I've done in other cases. I try to watch the interviews, watch the backgrounds, see what stands out, what sticks out. Like you'll know, I've repeated this a lot of times. Things that I found out in the beginning that many creators are working on now, which I think is really lovely. Shout out to all of those creators. Is Saeed watching his mobile device? When I first saw that, I was shocked. I thought I was imagining. And then it took me at least a week to decide if I want to put it out in the open. I was thinking, would I get involved in this case? Would the police maybe talk to me about this case? Would they accuse me of spreading rumors? But yet again, I did it. Because I thought it was important. What Saeed was watching when he was asked for his driver license did not make sense at all. Then we have Joe Vito, that I exposed and showed you all what he was watching on his phone at the grub truck. Many people told me at the start in my comment channel, oh, it's all blurry, it's all figures, and there's nothing to it. The reason I found out what Saeed was watching, what Joe Vito were allegedly watching, what the people in the grub truck, when they were yelling out Xana's name at 2 a.m. All of those things, you all saw that first in my channel. I've seen it even going around in TikTok now. I'm just trying to explain to you how I found these things. I was watching Saeed's behavior and it did not look right out to me. I always believed that Saeed was trying to distract the cops when he came because he had no reason. He said he lived at Taylor Avenue. He pointed out to that direction. Why would you be crossing the field, a Banfield field, when the cops are already stopping the 3 boys? You saw the 3 boys, they did not stop. They continued walking on. The cops put on their torch and everything, and they still continue going on. That till today boils my blood because we've all seen, most of us have seen police stops Although it doesn't concern us whether we are driving, whether we pass a mall or a shop, you always see police stopping someone or the other. And sometimes you watch police chase. Some people just get off of their cars and just run off. Or people on foot are told to stop and they run off. Immediately when the police stops them, the first thing they do is they handcuff them. Because you broke the law, you ran. Why should the police trust you? When they keep on saying the three minors, they weren't minors in the sense of that they were under 18. They were minors in the sense that they were under 21, so they're not supposed to be drinking any liquor, basically. They were lying about how much they drank, but what really upsetted me is I personally feel, watching their behaviors, studying the Banfield, which is one of my favorite clips, Banfield and the grub truck, what really irritates me is what did those boys throw in the field? They were asked to stop. They didn't stop. The police didn't go after them. They had their hands in their pockets. The whole scene was not something you would really like to see. It looks like not even a couple of red flags. Red flags were just popping out. The police were letting these boys get away with whatever they were doing. And on top of that, they were having a nice conversation with them. That is what people do when they try to distract the cops if they're going to get a penalty. Or if they're up to no good. And these boys are up to no good. Saeed just appeared from nowhere. He said he has his driving license, but he was too busy watching other pictures. And I think that is the one that really caught my attention. Till today, I can never forget what he was watching. Because the pictures that he was watching, unfortunately, that's exactly how Kaylee's parents described the way and the manner Kaylee was found. Now, that can't be a coincidence. I do believe in coincidence, but some coincidence, especially when it is about unaliving people, everything should be scrutinized. So whether Saeed was involved or not, whether he has bushy eyebrows or not, his phone device should have been checked. I always used to wonder, was there a live stream going on, or were these people sharing a group chat or something, because many people had access to the crime scene pictures. If you move on from the Banfield, we go to the grub truck. You can see a lot of things happening in the grub truck. I connected the part of them yelling Xana's name because I used to always, from day one, the first thing that caught my attention was when Stacy Chapin, E's mother, said clearly, 2 a.m. is the hardest time for a family. So it used to always stick out to me. I used to think, what happened at 2 a.m.? Because this is a parent. And let's not only forget, Stacy Chapin and the Chapins are not only parents. They were the only family, I believe, of the victims that did a private autopsy for their son. So for her to say 2 a.m. is the hardest time for us all, does she mean her and Xana's family and the other victim's family, or does she mean her family specifically? Let's not forget, he has 2 triplets, the 3 triplets, 2 of them could have witnessed the fight, or they could have heard about it. Both the hunters were called before 911, that I find to be, I don't know what to say. It doesn't make sense at all. Is Hunter a 911 paramedic? Does he have skills of a nurse, doctor? What could he have done that the police... I understand that if the victims got up and they were shocked to see the scene that they saw, but it still doesn't make sense. Call the police. Even a 5-year-old. We teach our children from when they're young. Call the police if you see an emergency. 911 is the easiest number to dial. In UK, it's 999. You can't miss those numbers. They make it easy and they make it free. Even if you don't have a network, you can call 911. So I would love to know what the two surviving roommates were doing. Doesn't make sense. Why didn't they call 911? Why did they call Hunter? My question is, was Hunter already there? We've seen Hunter plenty times in the house. And I believe personally that Hunter could have been living at the spare room, in the spare room. We know that he was living 2 blocks away from them, but why did they call Hunter? Okay, you can't open the door because maybe his body, God forbid, was blocking it. What is the 911 for? They send out the fire service to break down the door. You know, as a 20-year-old woman, like I'm talking about BK and DM, they would have known obviously that something is not right. They can see red liquid everywhere. They can see that the door is blocked. I'm sure they were calling the girls' numbers. They must have heard all the screaming and yelling and all the fighting and locked their rooms. But guess what? Whoever the suspect was who did all this left. Why didn't you call? Is it because you know them, DM, or is it because they told you not to say anything? Because according to the way I remember in the press conference, let's not forget, Chief Fry said to ABC News, when she asked Chief Fry clearly, she said, were the roommates injured? He said, no. Were the roommates there? He said, yes. Then she said, so you're trying to say, no, she asked, so did the roommates make the 911 call? He said, yes. And then she asked clearly, so are you trying to say that the surviving, she didn't say surviving roommates, she said, are you trying to say that the witnesses, the surviving roommates are the witnesses, and they didn't call 911 till 8 hours later? This is exactly what Chief Fry said. He said, no, I did not say that the surviving roommates are witnesses. I said they were there. Now, this is really important. This is at the press conference. So the first 2 press conference, the surviving roommate were just there, sleeping at the first floor. And that is the chief of Idaho Moscow saying that, who's in charge of the case. Guess what? Idaho Moscow called the FBI 5 days later. I'm not talking about 1. I'm not talking about 2, not 3, not 4, 5 days later. The Federal Bureau of Investigation have all the means of checking a case. They are supposed to be there, number 1, because in case the suspects or the suspect cross border lines, that is what the Federal Bureau of Investigation is for. But Idaho Moscow decided to call them 5 days later. The knife sheet. What do we know about the knife sheet? We were told that a knife sheet was there. What if somebody planted the knife sheet there? We know that there were dozens of people who were actually at the crime scene. It's in the airmail article. Many people were there. And when some of the people gathered around when the couple's bodies, may the rest in peace, was found. 2 people apparently went upstairs and found Maddie and Kaylee unalived. What did they touch? Let's not forget you have 8 hours gap. It's 9 hours gap, actually, if you think of it, because the crimes happened between 3 to 4. Why did they change the timeline? They must have changed the timeline because they saw this doesn't fit or suit their narrative. Let's be clear. And let's be honest. I'm not criticizing anyone. But this case wasn't professionally done. Now let's come to BK. I've never said BK is completely innocent. BK is involved somehow or the other, whether we like it or not. I've noticed the public and people on YouTube are half off. Some of the people would say BK is the one who did it. Bam. And some would say BK is innocent. Bam. But I don't believe in that. I believe in the gray line. They say white or black, there's a gray line here. BK was around there because I don't believe the FBI could have made up such things. But the question is, was he involved in the crimes? Was he told about the crimes? Did he get these people as his research participants, which I doubt, because he's been criticized a lot for these research, but he got permission from DeSales University. That's the part people miss. And he done this when he was doing his psychology. So the questions he was asking, people misunderstand. People think that, oh, why would a crime and justice student ask those questions? No, he was doing psychology. And when you look at it in mental health and psychology terms, that wouldn't be a research that I would have done. Definitely not. I wouldn't have used that as my research or my dissertation. My professors would have automatically not granted me the permission to do that because that is too deep. We've had students, I remember when we used to go to university, there was one student who was very interested in learning about jailmates and like prison people, prisoners, how they think, like if counseling, mental health counseling is helpful for them and such things. And I remember what the professor told her. She said, I wouldn't advise you to do it because it would take at least 6 months for the university to grant such a thing. You'll have to be filling forms. We'll have to be asking the prisons if it's all right that you come there, because doing a research, not only are you asking these participants the questions, for us, in our dissertation, we have to do it face to face. Like we have to get the signature, consent of the person. So Brian Christopher Kohberger, his research, another thing is look at the timelines of his research. It was in COVID time. So obviously people weren't allowed to see each other in COVID. So he must have got it granted and got it done. And he was a bright student. So whatever purposes he did it for, I can understand. Because if he did it as when he was doing his psychology, and then later on he did crime and justice as in his master's, and then he did criminology in his PhD. So he was trying to mix the crime and the psychological pattern of how people think when they're committing these crimes. I don't find much in that, like the mainstream media keeps on poking at. I don't find much in that because DeSales University wouldn't have granted him the permission to do it if they thought that it was out of their protocols. Every university is different. But my question is, could he have used that research in these crimes? And maybe he wasn't involved, but maybe he gave them ideas or tips. Allegedly, could he have been one of the cleaning crew? Did DM or BF or Hunter, whoever, allegedly could they have called him there to frame him? Like I told you last time, think about where the button sheet was, the knife sheet. It was inside the button. His DNA was found. Although it is touched DNA, still, it was found in the button, inside the button. What if he lent his knife out to one of the victims? One of the surviving roommates, they said they were scared. And we don't have weapons. Okay, here, you can borrow my knife. Possible. But then the only person in this case that I see carrying on K-bar knives is Mr. Showalter. He's a hunter. We have Jack D, who allegedly is a profession in throwing axes, but he's a tennis player too. So he's got a strong grip. All these things need to be answered, and we are not wrong by asking these questions. I understand some of them are figures, but they're quite clear figures. What Saeed was watching, there's no discussion and no argument, because Kaylee, his mother and father, said Kaylee was found in the sitting position. Many people say that when I talk about Jack D, they say, no, don't talk about Jack D. The parents ruled him out. Guess what? The parents ain't the FBI. The parents ain't the detectives. He was ruled out last. He drives a white pickup car. We saw that in front of the grub truck when Kaylee and Maddie were talking. When Jack Showalter was saying, "You know they're going to get you for that, Maddie." And Kaylee said, "Maddie, what did you tell Adam?" And she sounded upset. Maddie said, "I told Adam like everything." Wow, what is everything? Was it about money? Was it about DREGs? What was it about? Did these girls bump into something that they weren't supposed to? I showed you the clip yesterday of Xana talking, and I find it very interesting. Pay attention and listen to each and every word she said. She said, "Hello, my name is Xana." I love Xana. She's such a happy, smiley, lovely girl. All 4 victims had a future ahead of them. They had beautiful smiles. They look like they were kind. We don't know them personally. We've heard rumors that Kaylee and Maddie were mean girls, but we can't talk about people who are deceased because that's wrong. Nobody deserves to be unalived, and especially in this manner. Did the girls get themselves into something they shouldn't have got themselves into? Why did Xana want to fix her locks? Everyone had the code. Why didn't they change the code? Could this have been prevented? Is my question. This is what this clip is about. Could this have been prevented? Was this pre-planned a long time ago? The 4chan says this was brewing since fall last year, so it must have been going on for a year. He was last seen at 2 a.m. at the Sigma Chi. He texted a friend. The friend's mother told the FBI, but yet the timeline wasn't changed. Why? Why aren't they changing the timelines? Because they don't want us to hear the 911 call because they know it's going to blow up on their face. It's going to be a boom, a proper boom. I'm sure they must have all been talking on top of each other. I'm sure one must have said, "Yeah, tell them this and that." And the other must have said, "Don't tell them, they will understand." 911 records everything. So this is going to be really interesting when the 911 calls come up. What was Hunter doing there? Hunter was supposed to be E's best friend. Xana was Hunter's girlfriend, Emily's best friend. What was happening? Why did they call Hunter first? And why did Hunter call E's brother? This doesn't make sense. Why was 911 the last people to be called when they're supposed to be the first people to be called? I believe all this was pre-planned. The Banfield boys had something to do with it. Definitely. One of them has Vans shoes on. I hate when people say, "Oh no, they were innocent boys and they were just partying," and if they were just innocent and partying, the police told you, "Stop! Moscow police, stop!" Sorry, these people did not stop. Why not? Why did they stop for law enforcement? Law enforcement were joking and talking to them and say, "Yeah, we drive hybrids now. The force is trying to save money." Why would you be telling? You're undercover cops. Why are you telling these young men your secrets? What was the black car about? The black SUV or Jeep or truck or whatever it's called that passed by Banfield. That was at 3 a.m. And I'm sure that was the same car that the lights were flashing from 1122 Kings Road. Did all this happen at Taylor Avenue, or could this have happened at Queens Apartments? Because the police were expanding the crime scene. Did this happen in Linda Lane, or is Linda Lane fake? I have so many questions and yet no answers because this case is in a gag order. But we ain't giving up. We need to know. If Brian is involved, then so be it. But if he's not involved, give him a fair chance. Change the code, change the venue. Why is the prosecutor, William Thompson, stuck to this case? He's glued to this case. Is it because y'all changed the timelines, allegedly? Was there a fight club? Could Xana have been involved in the fight club? Because the people seem to be cheering. Another thing that I would love to talk about, Xana said clearly, "Hi, my name is Xana. I work in the Vandals Solution Project." Now, the Vandals, we've been hearing bits and pieces. It's been come on the mainstream news. Look at what they did to Tim Reeds, the young man. 40 of them jumped him. The Vandals, 4 or 5 years ago, there was a player that was reported for SEXUAL, essays, basically, and harassments. The only thing the coach said to the girls is, yeah, stay away from that player. He's full of it. What? Are these people actually playing the Wild Wild West game? And then the guy was thrown out, but he didn't get a criminal record. So if Xana was working for the Vandal Solution, what was she working for? What kind of project? She said she works for the Palouse Housing Project. Wow. She said, "I'm a salesman. I call around." And guess what? While she was talking, a white truck that looked exactly like Jack D's truck was passing behind. The same truck was passing when the house was demolished. That same truck, I don't know about the house when it was demolished, if it was the same one, but it passed behind Xana, and it's the same truck that when Maddie and Kaylee was walking with Jack Showalter, who's another one with harassments. He uses K-bar knives. He's the only person that we know of that left town. Think about that. These people actually love to go out for Thanksgiving and go to their parents. All the suspects, guess what, went home, spoke to their parents, acted like nothing happened, and came back with a fresh start. But Kaylee, Xana, E, and Maddie did not get that chance. May they rest in peace. We will always be here to get justice for them. If Brian Kohberger is innocent, he deserves his justice too. They need to change the venue. This is really wrong. You can't be doing that. It's about time to let go, Mr. Prosecutor. Be fair. The system, the code says not guilty until proven guilty. Give this man his fair chance. As for you, Kohberger, where's your proper alibi? Why are you giving us your alibi in bits and pieces? Where the hell were you that night? Sorry for my language, you'll know I'm always mindful, but such questions really bothers me. That's the reason I don't believe Kohberger is completely innocent. He had something to do with these crimes, but I don't know what. Please take care of yourselves, take care of your mental health, your physical health. Take care of each other. Life is too short. Love each other. Like John Lennon said, love each other and not fight each other. Something like that. Sorry for that, but y'all get me. These 4 students could have been our children. Our nieces, our nephews, our students, my therapy clients. They deserve the justice. We need to be the voice for them with mindfulness and with respect. Guys, please join me, subscribe, like, share my link of Psychology and Crime. I can't make contents and put it in both channels because I'm getting striked for that. So I need to focus on the psychology and crime. A new fresh start. Join me with your thoughts, with your ideas, with your mannerism. I love my subscribers. And I really mean it. Not that because you all view my stuff or because we agree or we disagree. I love you all because you're respectful people. And I always say when people tell me, Huda, you're doing a great job, I say, no, it's teamwork. Y'all are the ones who motivate me, who help me not to give up in this case. You'll have seen many YouTubers have moved on to many other cases, which is good. That's the way it's supposed to be. But guess what? I can't get over Idaho 4. I can't get over these 4 victims. It's unfair. I just feel like I owe it to them. And I know my subscribers feel that they all owe it to these 4. Love y'all guys. Have a beautiful day. And I'll be making another clip soon. I'll hear from y'all soon. Please like, share, and subscribe to Psychology and Crime. We will be going back to mental health and crime, but not for a couple of months. I'm going to be working more on this channel. Have a lovely day. And I hope there will be peace in the world. Like I told you yesterday, I don't think it's fair what is happening to Palestine. By being silent is wrong. Wrong is wrong. Right is right. This ain't about Arabs and Jews. This ain't about religion. This is about a selfish government, a narcissistic person who has no boundaries, who's not even listening to United Nations, not letting humanitarian aid go to the poor children who are suffering. So peace for Palestine, peace for the world. Love your guys, and especially justice for the 4 precious victims. Condolences to the families.